Welcome to this channel. The channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So in the past 2 years or so, there are many Wing Chun friends complain to me that there are people who do not know the states in the six core element, writing books, or teaching others on six core element, which is misleading. Now, today I like to share with you what is state. Okay, and I like to share with the world. There are many people who I thought on the six core element and the 13th state. And many of these friends, they really know what is the six core element and the 13th state. So, as usual, I encourage them to teach. Yeah, they do teach. And I do not collect one penny from their teaching because the six core element 13th state is the property, the treasure of the 1850s Wing Chun ancestor. It is not belongs to me. So I let everybody who really know what they are learning, they can walk their talk to teach. That is how the reality is. Now, with all those people who know the six core element, who have experience in their state, and who have the standard to teach the student, any one of them, they are following the details in this book, in Amazon. Any one of them disregard in Asia or in Europe or in America, the legit person who really know the six core element 13 state will be able to tell you in their sleep on what is the details in that book. So there is no such thing as this student know more, that student know more. No, everybody is based on the details, the content of the book I just shared with you. Okay. Now there are some people, some even never study with me, is copying my book, and some people who never really experience and have the skill on the state, which I want to share with you today, is writing books, is teaching. So this is what the complaint about. People who know the states look at it and say, hey man, this is not what it is. You guys are distorting whatever the real teaching of the 613.3. Okay? So this is what I like to share with the world. When you talk about the six core element, there is a standard. You need to be able to experience and handle that 13th state very well, or else you cannot teach. Now, it's not limited to Wing Chun practitioner. Even in other martial arts friends who learned the 613 from me, even like our BJJ friends, they can use it because 613 is a technology of the ancient Chinese, is an education. Okay, so you need to know, and you need to really clearly know that the standard is in that book, and it is very affordable, and even there are Kindle book there. Okay, I purposely make it affordable for everybody so everybody can check and not get into the trap. Wing Chun today get into the serious problem is because people start to preaching or teaching distorted thing, and right now you can see that it's a completely mess. So we don't want to mess up the six core element here. Now, so what is the state? Why is it so important to know six core element? One need to experience with the states instead of saying, well, six core element is physical, is mind, is breathing, is chi flow, is force flow, is momentum. You need to know the state. Why is that so important to know the state? Let me share with you. And all of you, be it you from the Wing Chun or any Chinese martial art, remember this basic. In Chinese Kung Fu, disregard of what Chinese Kung Fu. But as soon as they are legit one from the ancient, not the made up today, okay, there are two goals, two objectives. One need to reach. One is momentum handling. Like in my previous YouTube, I shared with you that you need to handle momentum in fighting. For the guy who is shorter than you, you fight one way with your momentum. With the guy who is taller than you fight another way with your momentum. That's momentum. You need to handle the momentum. No, there's not those Fa-Jing techniques. In fighting, it is a universal, it is momentum. And in Wing Chun, it is always that uniqueness of concede without concessions. That's momentum. Okay? So momentum is, if you want to fight, you better know the momentum. You better know the strategy, the tactical handling of different type of momentum. If he's taller, how are you going to fight him? If he's shorter, how are you going to fight him? Momentum. Now, for the momentum, you need to have your body conditions in order to do the high speed handling of this momentum in fighting. In today's language, you need to perform really well in anaerobic state. Anaerobic state. If you never train in that anaerobic state, the exertions, the muscular strengthening, your blood going to your muscle skeleton, you will not be able to do the job. Okay? So you need to have the anaerobic state capability. You need to be able to enter it, sustain it, stay in that state and sustain it. And as we know, as we are human, as I wrote in my book, Decoding Wing Chun, when you do those high speed, high heart rate anaerobic type of training and you are in that state for fighting, your blood distribution actually is more in your muscle skeleton instead of in your internal organs. So there's a state, okay? Stop the thinking about this fudging, this technique, that techniques. If you cannot enter to that state, you never train in that state, forget about it. So it's like you watch a movie, Yip Man 3, when Donnie Yen fight with Mike Tyson. In the real world, Donnie Yen cannot handle a few seconds from Mike Tyson. Why? Because Donnie Yen do not have the state handling of his physiological states. In the anaerobic, in that high speed exertions, carrying the entire body momentum. Okay? So like the Yip Man 3 movie is nonsense, of course, because it's a movie. You think about that's real, you're dead. Okay? You look at Mike Tyson's body, that is the state you need to be in if you want to fight at that intensity. Now, prior to that state, one need to train in aerobic endurance, where increase the mitochondrial density. Mitochondrial density, strengthen your heart muscle. That is the state where you do like the 8 broadcast, all sort of training, all sort of training, those things. So you need to enter into the state to condition your body. Now, that is for your fitness, for your aerobic endurance, so that you be able to develop the states for the fighting, the anaerobic. And after the anaerobic, you need to get into the state for recovery, to let your body recover. You need to enter the state. So enter into the state of recovery is like what? It's like enter into your sleep state. So to the very basic minimum, you need to have this recovery state develop. You can enter into it, you can within it and recover your body. You need to be in the aerobic endurance state to build out your body, your aerobic endurance. You need to train in the anaerobic state to strengthen your muscular endurance, high speed exertions, those state, all the states. So these are 3 states here, right? The strengthening, the fighting, the fitness, aerobic endurance, and the recovery. Now, in the 6 core elements, there are 13 states. The 13th state is the 13th physiological state, which is applicable for all those 3 physiological states we just talked about: the recovery, the fitness, aerobic endurance, and the anaerobic, the high exertion type. So the 13th state is the very basic state of these 3 states, these physiological states. Now, if you train in the 6 core element, you have no idea on this 13th state, the basic 13 physiological states. How the world are you going to train, develop that ability to enter into the recovery state, the aerobic endurance training state, or improving the fitness states, and the fighting state? There's no way you can do that. So that's why when you talk about 6 core element, people can scan you If you have that 13 state proficiency, the way how you talk is very different than those who just read the book. Six core elements. You need to know your body. You need to know your mind, your breathing. It's like preaching religion there, talking everything in your mind. But at the end of the class, can you get into this state? Or it completely blank on what is the state is about. Okay? So there are plenty of people today who know the six core element, who proficient in the 13th state. There are people who train with me, spending months to get screened by me, just to get them into the proper state. And there are people who pay me to learn that, and there are people who don't have to pay me to learn that. Okay? But they all exist. So any one of them, if you ask them, you get my book just now, you ask them, they don't have to read the book and they can tell you right away, in their way on that 13th state. Those are real legit people. And it has to be like that. Okay? So in a summary, start from the end. Martial art or Wing Chun 1850, the bottom line is two things: momentum handling and physiological state handling. If you don't have the training of the momentum handling and the physiological state handling, you are not doing kung fu. You're doing something else. And it is not practical at all in today's fighting system. You can use this model of momentum and physiological state to analyze any martial arts of today, and it will fit in nicely. Okay? So this is what I like to share with you. When you go to your teacher, when you learn things, you always want to ask him, what type of momentum is this? When can I learn the momentum for the fighting? And then you always want to learn, when can I learn to get into the physiological state so that I can make the momentum function, or make the fitness function, or make the recovery function. Don't let anybody tell you this is six core element. I wrote a book or whatever, whatever. Forget about it. And don't let people tell you this is internal or whatever. It doesn't matter. You need to show what it is. It's not the Ronnie Dangerfield back to school movies. What do you produce in your factory? Gadget. What is gadget? And finally, I like to share with you, as in my book, in the Decoding Wing Chun and all my previous YouTube, the state of the recovery, the fitness, and the strengthening the fighting, all can be tracked with the today's fitness tracker. So nobody can bullshit. And also, nobody can cheat our own self. If we never train in that high intensity anaerobic high heart rate, you know you are not up for the fighting. If you are not training for the resting heart rate, you know you are not going to go recovery. If you are not trained in the zone 2, you know you are not going to improve your aerobic endurance. Who to kid? So This is the bottom line. It is science, it is Chinese culture, it is a professional standard. It is not about me, but it's about you. Why settle for nonsense? Wasting life, wasting money. So if you heard people talk about six core element and they cannot presenting the states and not be able to guide you to lead into that state, you walk away. You know they don't have anything. Disregard is a person, it is a book. You know they don't have it. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. It's time that we set a standard in America. It is only fair that way for everybody. You pay the money, you invest your time, you need to get result.